Find the exact coordinates given the angle and the radius. The angle is 5 pi over 4, and the radius is 10. To find the exact coordinates here, we're going to need to use a reference triangle with this reference angle to figure out the x and the y coordinates. So on the reference triangle, we're going to use the reference angle from the diagram from before, and by figuring out what this reference angle is and using this hypotenuse here of 10, we should be able to figure out the x and y coordinates. So let's figure out what this reference angle is going to be. So to figure out the reference angle, we're going to look at our original angle, 5 pi over 4, and we're going to figure out how many radians it is from the terminal side to the nearest x-axis. So we know that this over here would be 4 pi over 4, and we need to figure out the difference between 5 pi over 4 and 4 pi over 4, which leaves us with a reference angle of 1 pi over 4. So now we know what the reference angle is. It's pi over 4, which is equivalent to 45 degrees. So we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Our radius is 10. So to go from the radius, which is the hypotenuse, to the two legs, we're going to take 10 divided by the square root of 2 and rationalize it. So both the x and the y coordinates are both 5 root 2. But now we need to pay attention to the directions that these things are heading in. So the x is going this direction. So that's a negative x. And the y is going down. That's a negative y. So our final coordinates here at this point will be negative 5 root 2 and negative 5 root 2. That's our final answer. So let's try another example. On this one, the angle is 300 degrees and the radius is 19. Let me go ahead and drop that in. And we're going to want to find the x and y coordinates at this point right here. So again, we're going to need this reference angle. So I can go ahead and figure that out. If it's 300 degrees up to this ray right here, and we know that this is 360 degrees, the difference between 300 and 360 is 60 degrees. So let's go ahead and set that up in a triangle so we can solve it. Alright, so we have our triangle here. We now know that this is a 60-degree angle, which means we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. And we know that this side is 19, came from the radius. So we know the hypotenuse is 19. And we know that the hypotenuse is twice as long as the short side. So I'm going to take that and just divide it by 2. And whatever the short side is, we multiply that by the square root of 3. So my y coordinate, since it's going down, it's going to be negative and that's the side across from the 60-degree angle, so that's going to be, so since our y-coordinate is going down again, it's going to be negative 19 over 2 root 3. And my x-coordinate going in the positive direction, so that's just going to be positive 19 over 2. So this gives us our final coordinate at this point here of positive 19 over 2 and negative 19 over 2 root 3.